Okay, Trey, I got it.
Let's
Talk about preaching.
Let's do it.
Me and you, we are both communicators.
This is true.
You primarily communicate from stage.
Yes.
I communicate from stage here and there.
Yes.
And so I just want to introduce the topic. Let's talk about who are some of just your favorite communicators.
Oh man, let's go. Like, I just feel like if Bishop Jakes is not one or two,
Bishop Jakes is a gimme.
Yeah.
It's like if you playing pickup street ball, he is the first.
Oh yes, absolutely. He's like the GOAT. So for me, number one is Bishop Jakes. Number two, it would be Robert Madu. Robert freaking Madu. And number three would be, my top three would be it would probably be Stephen
Furtick.
Pastor Stephen Furtick.
That's a solid three.
Yeah.
That is a really strong three.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm gonna go Bishop Jakes at number one. That is already a give me.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go number two, Jackie Hill Perry. And
Yes.
here's why.
Okay.
I think the way that Jackie Hill Perry makes biblical truth palatable
Okay.
is
Dude, did you? Well, I'm assuming you've seen Passion Conference.
Yes.
Freaking phenomenal.
Bro, I mean, she killed it.
I mean, that was like
She crushed it. Now, before I give you my number three, are we talking about just preachers or are we talking about communicators?
I thought preachers. That's why I just gave you three preachers.
Okay. Bishop Jakes, Jackie Hill Perry, and I'm gonna have to go Robert Madu. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
The way that he is able to articulate, I'm just like, do we have the same Bible?
Yeah.
Like, do we read the same text?
Yeah.
Because I do not see what you see from this.
Yeah. And just not even so much from, and then we could kind of pivot here, not even just so much for him, not even just preaching, but just communication chops. Like knowing how to place what here, the voice inflections. Like I'm a communication connoisseur. Like I'm just a student of communication.
Absolutely.
And for Pastor Robert Madu, I actually went to social once, man, and just to be in there and kind of see how he works the crowd. He knows where he's going. I like him because he's taken the crowd on a journey. He's taken the audience on a journey every single time he touches the mic. And what's amazing too is, I don't know if like you followed like him like maybe on YouTube and you've seen like several different messages. Dude, there's very little variation between like the different places that he preached the same message. And to a lot of people, they're like, oh, that's whatever. But as a communicator, it's hard to preach.
It's impressive.
Yes.
It is absolutely impressive.
Absolutely. But yeah, outside of just preaching, I think the most brilliant communicators are comedians, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that they're very similar in nature.
Okay.
I think that comedians are still trying to deliver a truth while making you laugh.
Absolutely.
And I think preachers are doing the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
They're trying to deliver a truth while making you laugh.
Yeah.
My pastor, the one who taught me how to preach, he told me that laughter is the means for you to help an audience get their guard down. That once you allow an audience to sort of get their guard down, you can punch them right in the face.
Yes.
You can punch them right in the face with a truth bomb. And I think that's so facts. That laughter is a great way. For me, I always try to open with laughter.
Absolutely.
Because it genuinely does help your audience get their guard down, and then you could just hit them with a straight truth bomb, two-piece them.
I don't even see it coming. Don't even see it coming. And just for sake of just saying it, I think your pastor does a phenomenal job at that.
He is incredible.
Because you don't even see the right hook coming, bro.
He's absolutely, that man is brilliant.
Yeah.
No, he is a
absolutely.
brilliant communicator.
Yeah. So outside of preachers, you was about to tell me some of your favorite, just all-time communicators.
All-time communicators. Dave Chappelle.
Freaking genius.
Yo, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You talk about a communicator?
Yes.
If Dave Chappelle was saved,
Yeah.
oh my Jesus. Oh Lord, have mercy. Good.
Absolutely.
God, that man is, he's a master.
Yes.
He's a master of words. I'm trying to think. Who else? Just communicators.
Dude, Chris Rock. I don't know if
Yes.
this may not be popular, but his recent stand-up, man, you talk about like world-class communicator, and I think like a lot of people don't appreciate it because they don't understand the nuance of like just communication in itself.
Yeah.
And his ability to just, even from the beginning, like the foreshadows of course he's talking about Will,
Yes.
but he's just coming out the back and saying like things that you don't even think about until the end.
Until it clicks.
Yes, and I think that's like one of the ultimate goals of communicators. It's not just to leave somebody, leave the audience with like feeling well or feeling good, but leaving the audience with a thought, like to go home and wrestle with. I think, especially in preaching, like my goal as a communicator, and I'm still working on it, I haven't mastered it, but my goal as a communicator is not just so much to leave people with a feeling, as much as I want to say something so provocative, so thought-provoking that it makes you want to go and look it up in scripture. It makes you want to go home and do your homework, man. And looking at Chris on stage, he did it, man. He did it. So he would probably be one of my top 3 communicators overall.
I think he hits on a key point of communication that a lot of communicators overlook.
Okay.
It is the art of surprise.
Yes.
That he hits you with what he's going to do.
Yes.
From the jump.
Yes.
He's like, I'm gonna take you here.
Yes.
And
yes.
now I'm gonna take you here,
Yes.
and then I'm gonna bring it right back here.
Yes. And Dave Chappelle does that too. Yes. Dave would say something in the beginning that you're like, bro.
And then when he raps it, you're like, oh my goodness.
That's it.
Yo.
That's it, bro. And another thing that I think Chris Rock does, and all great communicators do, is they know the power of tension. Saying something so provocative that it grabs your attention. And even if you look at scripture, Jesus does this. He does this. Like he'll say things in his parables, or he'll say things just in general that will just have the Pharisees like, whoa. Like, unless you drink my blood, unless you eat my flesh, you're none of my, like, bro, like, just saying things just left field, but would leave the audience, and John does a great job, the book of John does a great job of this, because you'll see the tension between the audience. Like, in some sections of John, you'll see, like, it'll say, and some of them were in awe.
It's in Mark's gospel too.
Yeah.
It's like repeated constantly.
Yes.
And they were amazed.
Yes. Yes.
And they were amazed at his miracles.
Yes.
With fear and amazement. I mean, it's a constant theme anytime Jesus was talking.
Yes.
That people were left just genuinely amazed. And I think that's the goal of every communicator, is to get to a place to where you leave your audience like,
yo.
Did that man just say that?
Yes.
Yo.
Yes. So yeah, man, I think the art of tension, but even when it comes to preaching, let's just talk just strictly preaching for a second, man. And let's just share some of the tools or techniques, and just looking at the preaching scene right now, some of the things that just really stand out on our radar. Like for me, I think the biggest thing as a young preacher and just having young peers, what I find is that there's almost an over-infatuation with preaching.
Yes.
And an under-infatuation with actually just loving God and His Word. Yeah, like it's a lot of people who have great oratory skills, but hermeneutically, like
it's like
it's shallow.
I don't know how you got there, but okay. Yeah.
So for me, I think, let's just go here for a second. For me, I fell in love with the Bible before preaching. I was always infatuated with preachers, but for some reason, like just David and Goliath did something to me at 4 years old. Like you're telling me, like this tall, I don't even know how tall, you probably know he's the Bible.
He's like 10, 11 feet.
And he's getting knocked out by, little dude, little shorty.
Little scrawny dude.
Yeah,
Who's
so
out there like...
And I think if we're not careful as young preachers, we could end up causing more damage than good. Because
I think the danger is we can put such an overemphasis on the microphone.
Let's go.
That we can put such an overemphasis on being on stage,
yeah,
that we don't actually do the hard work in understanding what it takes to even do that.
Yeah.
Because what I think a lot of people need to realize about communication is that you are not. Barna has this stat that over 90% of Christians have never read the entire Bible.
Which is bonkers.
So what a pastor is doing in a Sunday service matters.
Yeah.
Because that may be the only Bible that they get that week.
Yes.
And so it's like, if you don't do your job, you are making people make decisions about their lives based on your words.
Yes.
And so I think we have to be strategic with our words. We have to be intentional with our words. And we have to understand the power of our words.
Yes.
That it's quoted all the time that life and death is in the power of the tongue. But I believe that that's true for preaching as well.
Yes.
That life and death holds in the balance of the words that you say on a Sunday morning.
Yes.
It holds in the balance of the words that you say on a Wednesday night.
Yes.
It matters.
Yes. Man, it shocked me. So, again, last week, I was preaching, and I got this thing after every service. I just love hugging people.
For sure.
Like, I just love loving on people. So, I was shocked that one of the guys that came up to me, like, and he's like almost in tears, and he's like, yo, I've just been listening to everything you've been doing. And he was telling me about like 3 messages before that I had preached. And he was like, I took it to work with me. And now I'm teaching it to students. And now these students are listening to or gleaning from what you've been sharing on stage. And to your point, it's like, I think as a communicator, we have to be comfortable with the weight of what we carry, because it is life-giving. Like, it's no small minuscule task. It's life-giving. And once we realize, you know how many people have come to me and said, because you said so, like, because you preached this, I lived this, or I made this decision. And that's life-giving, bro.
For sure.
That's life-giving.
And I think this is why Scripture says that pastors and preachers will be judged more harshly.
Absolutely.
Because there's a certain level of responsibility that you carry as an orator.
Yes.
Especially like an orator of God's word. Like, there's a certain weight that you carry.
Yes.
That you have to be cognizant of every time you're on the stage, every time you're communicating, because you impact people's lives.
Yes.
Like, you make decisions to change people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, I tell this story all the time. I recently posted an Instagram video that I was not going to post. It ended up going viral, hitting like 1 million views. And I wasn't going to post it at first because I didn't like how I sounded.
Right.
And I ended up getting a DM roughly 8-9 hours after I had posted it. This girl DMs me and she's like, hey, I watched this video and I went on every video on your page. I was in the middle of writing my suicide note. And I went and I watched every video on your page, and it let me know that God was not done with me yet.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, that you have the power to help alter people's lives when you preach the gospel of Jesus. That when you are communicating the gospel, you have the ability to help change people's lives. You are the middleman in between God and his children. And you have to know how to carry that weight. Which is why I think a lot of people have to get to a place of becoming excellent communicators, becoming master communicators. Because if you don't, you do a bad job.
100%. And this is why, let's just go to another layer of it. This is why I think it's important that that communicators not only understand that we got to prioritize word before preaching, because not only does it really give life to the people that are listening, but it gives you life. I like what Paul says, man. He says, I don't want to preach. And then at the end, myself, I become a castaway. And I think a lot of people, because of the infatuation of preaching over actually knowing God, and Jay, that's a lot of people who preach who don't even know him. And I'm like, and then you get in these green rooms, and it's like, bro, like, it's not even on no judgmental type thing, but it's just like,
do you
yeah.
Do you even believe what you're talking about?
Yes, yeah. And I think as communicators that we just got to be careful, not so much to, again, just grab the mic, but grab the word, man, and let it feed you. It's almost like I don't know if you heard of the starving baker analogy.
No.
It's you. Yes, you're a cook. Yes, you're a baker. and you're just so infatuated with feeding other people, and then you go home and you're starving. And it's like, I don't know about you, but the best cooks that I've ever come across, they look like they've been eating good.
I don't want that got that turkey leg on.
Bro said a turkey leg.
They got a turkey leg on their arm.
Bro, if you don't have it, I'm not eating at your house for Thanksgiving.
If it's not a little jiggle right here, I don't trust your macaroni and cheese.
No.
I will not eat your collard greens.
Because you're showing me that you don't eat what you cook.
Exactly.
Like, if you don't have that, you're showing that you're not consuming what you're trying to contribute. And I think if you're going to be a healthy communicator, that's what we need. We don't just need great communicators. We need healthy communicators who have a balanced diet and who are able to feed off of the excess, who are give leftovers from the meals that they've eaten themselves.
Yeah.
Those make the best sermons.
Bishop Jake says this, that the best messages that he's ever preached to him first.
Yes.
That there's just a certain power that you preach from when that message preached to you first.
Yeah.
There's a message I preach called "There's Something in the Water."
That's good.
And that message spoke to me first because it's a message essentially about John chapter 9 and the blind man who was blind from birth. And one of my French points in this sermon is that even when the man could not see Jesus, Jesus still saw the man.
Yeah.
And it made me realize all along that I've been that man. That even when I was a long way off.
Yeah.
Even when I was in my mess.
Yeah.
Even when I didn't want nothing to do with God, he still saw me.
Yeah.
Although I didn't see him, he still saw me.
Yeah.
And that ministered to me before it ever ministered to anyone else.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that there has to be a level of, if the message don't move you, then why are you preaching it?
It's not going to really move.
It's not going to move no one else. I promise you. If it don't hit you at your core, I can't even think about that blind man too long because I'll start to cry.
Yeah.
Because that's me.
Yeah.
I was that blind man.
Yeah.
And it's like, if there's not a level of passion and drive that a message carries because it moves you, then it's not going to move an audience.
Yeah.
It'll touch an audience, but it won't move them.
Come on, bro. That's a whole bar.
They don't even realize it went over there.
Yeah. If it may touch them, but it may not move them. And yeah, man, I've been like that. Like, I think last year I probably preached the woman with the issue of blood like 1,000 times. Like, to the point, like, some people that was traveling with me, like, bro, you got
an arsenal over here.
But I saw myself in it. And to your point, it's like until you see yourself in the text, one, like you said, it's not going to move other people. But then when you see yourself in the text, you can see the text so much more different.
Exactly.
And even, let's go here, I think the best sermons are birthed out of problems. Like you're talking about the blind man, I think the reason you resonate with him is because you resonate with the problem. Like, although you may not have been physically blind, you've definitely had seasons in your life where you felt spiritually, I can't see God, I don't feel God, but he sees me. And I think for communicators, because I hear this a lot, I don't know how to come up with material. I think the best sermons, again, are birthed from problems.
Yeah.
And as long as you can identify problems, you'll always have content.
Always.
Yeah, you always have content as long as you have problems.
My pastor taught me this, that you cannot prescribe something without a symptom.
Okay.
You cannot prescribe an audience a message without there first being a symptom. So in every sermon that I preach, what is the symptom? What's the symptom? I preached a message called, trying to think, I done forgot it. What is that message? I preached a message on Adam. And it's essentially about how Adam, I got it. The message is called, Can You Cover Me?
Got you.
And it's about Adam covering himself in the Garden of Eden. And essentially that message is about insecurity. So the symptom of that message is insecurity. However, I go on this tangent about how Adam tried to first cover himself. But the prescription at the end is that God was going to cover him all along.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you don't first have a symptom, then you can never actually prescribe someone with God's truth, because you don't understand how that sort of works in tandem with one another.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't understand, there are problems. People are dealing with real problems when they come to church.
Yeah.
People are dealing with real struggles. And I realized that from the time I was in youth ministry, when I was 14, 15, preaching to our youth ministry, I realized I was that kid that was struggling with issues. I was that kid that I didn't know if my lights were going to be on by the time I got home from preaching. It's like there was struggles that I was dealing with. And everyone is coming to church with something. Rich, poor, black, white, tall, short, they're all coming to church with some type of problem. And if you can't prescribe them with God's truth, then I think you've missed the mark.
Yeah. And you can't prescribe a truth that you don't know. This is why I said the foundation of good preaching is fall in love with the word. And then I think number 2 is finding a coach. I think it's finding somebody that you can model after. I think there's a book called Still Like an Artist, and it really revolutionized the way I thought about content creation, preaching, because the way I was brought up, it was like, it was almost like the Moses model of preaching. Like, only you go up to the mountain and you hear from God only from yourself, no inspiration, just you, God, in the Bible, and you bring it back down to the people. And what I learned is that for me, and for a couple of other communicators that are connected to me, the best content is birthed out of community. And having a coach is providing you with another set of eyes, another mind that can help provoke some of those nuances that you probably would overlook. So I think number 2 for good communication is finding a coach.
Yeah, I think finding a coach is crucial, because not only does it help you sort of create content and navigate the content that you have created, it also just helps you with technique. When you find a good communicator, they help you with technique. There's this funny story. The first sermon I ever preached in youth group for my youth pastor, I come to youth group that night, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours early, and I have my notes in this binder on college ruled notebook paper. And so like I'm walking into the sanctuary, my pastor goes, "Hey, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is my notes for the night." He goes, "Yeah, let me get that." Yo, he takes my binder full of notes. This is the first sermon I ever preached. I'm like, "Oh crap." Yo, like, I hope I have this message memorized. He goes, "Yeah, I don't preach with notes. So why would you think you come in here and you can preach with notes?" No. I don't know where that binder is to this day. To this
Did
day,
you throw it out?
Bro, I have no idea where this binder is. It's probably still at the youth section. Like, I have no idea. It's like 14-year-old Jayon handwriting in a binder somewhere in our youth facility.
That's hilarious.
I don't have those notes. But it instilled something in me that there's a certain level of just responsibility that we carry as communicators. That if we don't prepare ourselves well, that we will never be able to actually change someone's life. Like, that is the goal, is to change someone's life with the gospel. And so if we don't prepare ourselves well, then we will never.
Absolutely.
We will never.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about technique, because it's funny. I just started going back to the gym. I always say back. Every year it's like,
every year we go back.
Yeah, we go back every year. It's hilarious. So I go back to the gym. I got a trainer. He's a youth pastor friend of mine, and he's like Jack, bro. And it's funny. The first day that we're there, it's like I'm just going. I'm just trying to show him how strong I am. So I'm like, I'm lifting and I'm squatting and I'm just trying to show how strong I am. And he's like, whoa. Hold up. Let's take the weights off. I'm more concerned about your form than how much you can lift. And I think that's true with communication is when you find that coach, the right coach won't be or will not be more impressed with how well you can move a crowd. They'll always come back and say,
let's look at your hermeneutics.
Yes. They'll fine tune it. And this is why I think all the greats have a coach. That's why LeBron still has a coach. Like, he may lead the team.
LeBron's coach is not even in the NBA.
Yeah. Yes.
But he still has a coach.
Absolutely.
Tiger Woods' coach is not even a golf player, but he still has a coach.
And here's the thing, Jay. LeBron's better than his coach.
But he still has a coach.
He still has a coach. Tiger Woods' coach is not even touching him on the golf course. But Tiger Woods still has a coach.
Because there's a certain level of technique
Yes.
that coaches give. That although they may not be able to perform it themselves,
Yeah.
they still know how to get you to that place.
Yeah.
Even if they can't do it themselves.
Yeah. And I think it's tricky because it's almost like, I'll say it's like my peers. It's tricky because it's like my peers, what I see oftentimes is like, I want my coaches to be Rich Wilkerson, or like I want them to be preaching on elevation or preaching at Social Dallas. Like if you don't have 10,000 followers, then I don't want you to coach me. And I think that we rob ourselves of
diamonds in the rough.
Absolutely. I mean, if we think about the little boy with the 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, like if you just look at it, this little boy, he never seen Jesus work a miracle like that. He never seen Jesus become a chef.
Yeah.
Like he never saw it.
He never seen him make lunch.
He never seen him make Lunchables, bro, at all. But he had enough faith to submit what he had to somebody who could do more with it. And I parallel that to preaching and coaching because although like maybe some of the people that God's called us to be under, to serve under, or to even be our coaches, although we may have never seen them reach greatness or however we define greatness, I still think that there's a power in giving or submitting or listening to or serving under and giving what we have. This almost goes back to submission. Giving what we have to somebody who can tune what we have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my professors, the man's church has no more than 100 members.
Yeah.
But like he's a pastor and I've taken multiple classes with him. And each time you can tell he's very strategic about how he communicates. Although he's just like, literally we're here for academic reasons.
Yeah.
And most professors are boring.
Yeah.
But I've taken 5, 6, 7 classes with this man because the way he understands communication is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like he finds a way to, his humor is just like off the charts.
Yeah.
He knows how to inflect his voice at the right moment. He just understands the art of communication.
Yeah.
But if you are so focused on the glitz and the glam and the numbers and this person is discipling me and this person is teaching me how to preach and I got taught how to preach from this person, you will miss gems because you're too busy focused on the entire success of another communicator.
And let's just throw this out here. Just because you follow a big name does not guarantee that you're going to, unless
and some of these big name communicators, I'm like, they're average at best.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly.
I have heard some of these communicators, I'm like, I've only heard a couple of good messages from you.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not saying that that's bad. Like, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that just because there's been a couple of messages that I thought was good, that they're a bad preacher. Yeah. Because they could still be impacted people. But I do want people to get to a place to where they understand, it's not about who I'm impressing. Mm-hmm. That's irrelevant. The goal is to help people. Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
You are a doctor.
Yeah.
Your job is to help patients.
Yes.
And the church is your hospital.
Yes.
That is it.
1,000%. 1,000%.